Good morning, students. Welcome to the online teaching session of Academic World School Vimitra. Today we are here again with class 9 chemistry, second chapter, Is matter around us pure? Last class we discussed about solution and its properties. As we know, solution, it is a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances which are uniformly mixed and evenly distributed throughout. We have taken the properties of solution that it is so small that the particles cannot be visible in naked eyes, and also it doesn't scatter the path of light, and it is a homogeneous mixture. It doesn't show the Tyndall effect. Today we will be studying solubility and concentration. First of all, solubility. Soluble means mixable. For example, we dissolve salt in water. That means salt is soluble in water. But oil is not soluble in water. So that is insoluble. So what is solubility? The ability of a solute to mix with a solvent is called solubility. But to give the proper definition, the ability of solute or the amount of solute that can be dissolved in 100 gram of solvent at a given temperature is called the solubility of solute. So solubility that can be dissolved in 100 gram of solvent is called the solubility of that solute in that solvent at a particular temperature. So temperature while we are taking solubility is temperature dependent. As we studied last class, saturated and unsaturated solution. That means if we increase the temperature, amount of solute that is being dissolved or that can be dissolved in a particular solvent, that can be increased. Okay, so solubility is a temperature dependent factor. Now we will discuss the effect of temperature on solubility. So solubility can be of many types. Dissolving solid into liquid, also dissolving gas into liquid. We will be discussing the major two cases, the solution of solid and liquid, and also the solution of gas in liquid, because these are the two solutions we daily come in contact in our day-to-day life. Now, first of all, solid in liquid. So take for example, if you are adding salt or sugar to a particular amount of water, after reaching the saturation point, that means the point at which no more solute can be dissolved in the solvent, that is called the saturation point. After that, if we heat the solution, then we can add more amount of solute. That means if temperature increases, solubility temperature increases, then solid in liquid solubility increases. Second one, you can see last class as we discussed, if we increase the temperature, the saturated solution becomes unsaturated. Number 2, saturated solution becomes unsaturated. After that, we can see after heating, the solution will dissolve more amount of solid, but what will happen after the solution comes to the room temperature or it gets cooled down? So whatever extra amount of solute that was dissolved in that particular solvent, those will be separated out, those will be settled down, and that process will be called crystallization. If the heated solution is cooled down, the extra solute dissolved will be separated. Now you see three factors. If temperature increases, solubility increases. Number two, if temperature increases, the saturated solution that can dissolve more amount of solute, that means it will become unsaturated. Third one, after converting the saturated solution into unsaturated solution by the application of temperature, the solution after getting cooled, the extra amount of solute will be settled down or separated. In case of sugar, that is called crystallization. Most of the cases, the crystals of the other solution is formed when the solution rapidly cools down. So this is effect of temperature on solubility of solid in liquid. Let us see the effect of temperature on gas in liquid. Effect of solubility on gas in liquid. Whenever gases are there in liquid, according to chemical laws, the solubility of gas decreases when temperature is increased in a particular solution or solvent. Now see, solubility of gas decreases on increasing the temperature. Next we will see effect of pressure on solubility of different kind of solute in different kind of solute. Effect of pressure on solubility. Number one, solid in liquid solution. So whenever we increase the temperature, normally in atmospheric pressure the concentration is as usual, but whenever solids are getting mixed in liquid, if we increase the pressure, since solids are incompressible, you know, and pressure has not much effect on solids. So the solution of solid or the concentration of solid in liquid or the dissolving of solid in liquid has nothing to do with change in pressure. So no change in solubility on the change of pressure. Whenever we change pressure, increase or decrease, the solid that is dissolved in liquid, that has no change. That means that doesn't change. Not it becomes more, not becomes less. Neither it becomes unsaturated nor becomes saturated. That is a valid reason, because solid cannot be compressed, and by application of pressure, solid doesn't change. Next coming, gas in liquid. gas in liquid solution. As you know, pressure has a lot of impact on gases. In atmosphere, we are experiencing pressure because of the gases present in the atmosphere. Now, whenever pressure increases, the gases they tend to be compressed. As we have studied in our previous lectures that if we apply pressure, the gas can be compressed. That means the gas has neither fixed volume or fixed shape. That is the reason why whenever there is a solution of gas in liquid and we apply pressure, so the gas tends to go inside the liquid in a greater extent. That means solubility of gases increase on increasing pressure. Solubility of gases increasing the solubility of gases. Now this can be a reason. You see the cold drinks, the aerated drinks or the soda bottles, they are packed with pressurized gases. Carbon dioxide mainly, whenever you open it, it comes out with a whiz sound. That means the gases that are present inside the bottle, those are packed with high pressure, so that the solubility will be maintained. So here we can say that due to this reason, cold drinks packed with pressurized gases. Cold drinks are packed with pressurized gases. So these are the example of gas in liquid solution and effect of pressure on that kind of solution. Next, moving towards concentration of solution. So concentration is one of the most important factor when we study the solution or liquid state. So it is the amount of solute that is dissolved in a particular amount of solution. That means if we are having 1 liter of salt solution in water, the amount of salt or the amount of solid substance present in that particular amount of solution is called the concentration of salt in that particular solution. So there are numerous types or numerous ways where we can calculate the concentration of the solution, but here we will be discussing only 3 characteristics. Again, I am telling the amount of solute that is present in a particular amount of solution is called the concentration of the solute in that solution. So concentration can be defined as the amount of solute that is dissolved in a particular amount solution, particular amount of solution is called concentration of the solution. Now, when we will study in the higher classes, we will be studying many more ways of calculating concentration of solutions, but in this class we will be studying normally 3 ways. We will be calculating concentration in terms of percentage. Now, on the basis of mass and volume, concentration can be calculated in 3 ways. So depending on the mass of solute and solvent along with the volume of solute and solvent, the concentration can be calculated in three ways. So there can be different type of solutions, right? Suppose we add small amount of alcohol into water. So in this case, smaller amount is the alcohol and larger amount is the water. So alcohol will be called the solute and water will be called the solvent. Just like that, salt in water. So here solid substance, that is salt, that is solute, and liquid substance, water, that is called solvent. So volume can also be calculated when liquid solution is there, as mass can be calculated when solid liquid is there. So whatever we desire, that we can calculate. So number 1, mass by mass percentage, that is mass of solute by mass of solution into 100. So this is mass upon mass percentage or mass by mass percentage. Number 2, mass by volume percentage, that is mass of solute divided by volume of solution into 100. The third case, volume by volume. So mass by mass percentage, mass by volume percentage, and volume by volume percentage. Depending on whatever concentration we need, we can apply these three formula. So we must have the mass and volume of the solute and solvent that is provided to us. Now we will be practicing some numericals based on these formulas. Number 1, question number 1. When 40 gram of salt is dissolved in 320 gram of water, what will be the concentration of the solution? Now in this numerical we see mass of the solute is given and mass of the solvent is given. So obviously we will be taking the first formula, that is mass by mass percentage. Now according to question, mass of the solute equal to 40 gram, mass of the solvent equal to 320 gram. Now we will calculate the mass of solution, because in our formula we have mass of solute and mass of the solution. So we have solute and solvent. Whenever we mix these two, we will get the mass of solution. So mass of the solution will be mass of solute plus mass of solvent, that is 40 gram plus 320 gram, that becomes 360 gram. Mass of the solution is 360 gram. Now concentration equal to mass by mass percentage, that is mass of solute divided by mass of solution into 100, that is 40 by 360 into 100. 4 9 so 9, 1, again 10, 1, 0.1, that is 11.1%. So this is the solution or the concentration of the solution in that particular condition. So second example we will be taking. So this is mass by mass percentage. Just like that we can calculate the mass by volume percentage, volume by volume percentage and other. One more tricky question will be discussing. Number 2. How many liters of 15% mass by volume, 15% sugar solution will it take to get 75 gram of sugar? That means here the question is about mass by volume. There is a solution that is measured in volume and some amount of sugar is dissolved in that. So the question is asking how many liters of the solution would it take to get 75 gram of sugar. That means if you dry the solution you must get some amount of sugar. So to get 75 grams of sugar, how many liters of solution you will be needing? So let us come directly to our formula. Concentration, mass by volume, percentage, that is mass of solute by volume of solution into 100. Now let us take the volume of solvent let us take the volume of solvent, that is solution is X. Now we have our concentration, that is 15 equal to 75 by X into 100. It implies 15X equal to 75 100. It implies X equal to 7500 divided by 15, that is 500 ml, that is 0.5 liter. So this is how some tricky questions can be answered from the given data. In this way, different kind of questions have been asked in the assignment that will be provided today. You all try to find out the answer of the given assignments. Next, we will be moving to our next topic, that is suspension. In the past class, when we discussed about four types of beaker, and in four beakers we had taken different types of mixtures. In first we had taken some crystals of copper sulfate. In second we took 2 spoons of copper sulfate. In the third we took a spoon of chalk powder, and in the fourth we took some drop of ink or milk. Now we learned at that point that the third beaker, that was dissolved with chalk powder, that gave us a suspension. Now suspension, that term itself says that the particles must be suspended. That means it is a heterogeneous mixture. The solution is not even throughout. The particles which are dissolved in the solution are not totally dissolved. They are suspended in between the solution. So that kind of solution is called suspension. So it can be defined as, it is a heterogeneous mixture in which the particles of solid are not completely dissolved but remain suspended in the solution or in the bulk of the medium. That means it can be said that whenever there is a suspension, the particles of the solute will be suspended here. Just imagine dissolving chalk powder in water. What will you see after some time? After dissolving, you will see particles of chalk, they will be floating in between the bulk of the water. So that kind of solution is called the suspension. So these are the suspended particles, and this is the water. So this can be found in any kind of liquid which is not dissolved, which cannot dissolve the particular type of solute. So the properties of suspension, properties of suspension. As we know, whenever particles are suspended, this means the solution is not completely homogeneous. It is a heterogeneous mixture. That is the reason why particles are suspended in the bulk of the medium. Number one, it is a heterogeneous mixture means the particles which do not mix. Number two, particle size of the solid is greater than 100 nanometer. The particles can be seen in naked eye. As you will be able to see the dust particle or the chalk particle that is present in the water. That is called suspension. Number 4, if left undisturbed, for some time, the solute particles settle down. So unstable solution, when it is left undisturbed for some time, what happens? The particle they settle down, the solution get stabilized. Whatever instability is there, they settle down. So taking example of chalk powder in water suspension, after leaving the solution for some time, the chalk particles will get settled at the bottom. So this is suspension. Number 5, on filtration, the particles can be separated. So the unwanted particles, the non-mixing particles, they can be separated on filtration and the solvent can be separated out. Next is, whenever we pass light through it, in solution we saw that whenever we pass light through the solution, the particle size was nearly about 1 nanometer, that is 10 to the power minus 9 meter. So it is so small that it would not scatter the path of light, or would not scatter the light. So the path of light was not visible through the solution. Here we are talking about the suspension. It is 100 nanometer, 100 times more than the solution particles. So here the path of light will be visible because of the larger size of the particles. The path of light will be visible, or it will scatter the beam of light. So it is called Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect means the scattering of light by the suspended particles. The scattering of light by the suspended particles is called the Tyndall effect. It can be seen in many cases in the canopy of the forest. The sunlight can be properly visible. It can be seen as a ray. So that ray is visible because of the reflection of light through the particles that are suspended, mostly water vapor, in the canopy of the forest. Now these are not dissolved. These are not soluble. Not dissolved, but remain suspended. Next is colloid. So in the fourth beaker, we had taken milk with water that was mixed but different medium, like oil and water kind of thing. So this is also a heterogeneous mixture, but the size of the particle is very less, so that we cannot see in the naked eye. It is a heterogeneous mixture. In which the particles particle size lie between the solution and suspension. So this kind of solution or this mixture is called colloid. In suspension the particles are clearly visible. In colloid the particles will not be visible in naked eye, they will be visible in microscope. Now properties. Number 1, it is a heterogeneous mixture. It is a heterogeneous mixture. Number 2, the particle size range from 1 nanometer to 100 nanometer. Number 3, particles can be seen through microscope. Number 4, on filtration the particles cannot be Number 5, the particles scatter the beam of light that means source scatter the beam of light, that means this source indirectly. Okay, so these are the properties of colloidal solution, and the example we can take milk in water, okay, so where the particles are not mixed but they are so small that we cannot see them in our naked eye. So this is all for today. We will be moving towards our assignment section. Number 1, assignment 3. Number 1, calculate the concentration of solution where 2.5 gram of sugar is dissolved in 47.5 gram of water. Number 2, calculate the concentration of solution where 60 gram sugar dissolved in 400 gram of water. Number 3, calculate concentration of solution where 25 ml of acetone is dissolved in 150 ml of water. Number 4, what is solubility of salt? How vary with temperature and what is the solubility of salt? How does the solubility vary with temperature and pressure? So these 4 questions you will solve in your assignment and you will submit. Now I wish you happy learning and stay safe during this period. Thank you.